Now that everyone appears to be here or is en route, we'll begin the reading of How the
CC.
Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss,
So
published
do
by
we just have
Random
one
House,
galaxy
New
right now?
York. This is a reward from early in the beta for everyone who participated in the Biolab assault. When I said if we can take a lab away from the Terran Zerg in less than 30 minutes, I will read a story. You all did it in 22 minutes,
CC, is
so I
anybody
am
here or
now
you all are?
obliged.
This is the story time.
CC Scopes here. I got my Galaxy parked west on the ground at the Crown.
Bear in mind there will be some pauses as I have to turn pages. Let us begin. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot.
User joined your channel.
But the Grinch, who lived north of Whoville, did not. The
User
Grinch
left your
hated
channel.
Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why, no one quite knows the reason. It could be his head
CC,
wasn't screwed on
is that
just
default?
right. It could be perhaps
User
that
joined
his
your
shoes
channel.
were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small.
You see, we have
But
User joined your
whatever the
channel.
reason, his
Ramars.
heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas hating the Who's, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at warm-lighted windows below in their town.
User joined
For
your
he
channel.
knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath. And they're hanging their
CC
stockings,
there,
he
Galaxy Crashing
snarled
Crown.
with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas.
User left
It's
your channel.
practically here. Then he howled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming. I must find some way
CC,
to
you're all
stop
called.
Christmas from
Is
coming.
if
joined
you
your
have it set to
channel.
all
For
channels.
then,
If you have it set to
tomorrow
channel
he
family, then
knew.
it won't be.
All the Who girls and boys would wake up bright and early and they'd rush for their toys. And
User
then,
joined your channel.
oh, the noise, oh, the noise, 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 noise. That's one thing he hated, the noise, 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 noise. And then the Who's, young and old, would sit
User
down
joined
to
your
a
channel.
feast. And they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, 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 feast. They would feast on Who pudding, and rare Who roast beast, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together, and with Christmas bells ringing, they'd stand hand in hand, and Who's would start singing. And they'd sing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing, sing, sing,
User
sing.
joined your channel.
And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing.
User joined your
Why,
channel.
for 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop Christmas from coming. But how? And then he got an idea. An awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea.
User joined your channel.
I know just what to do. The Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat, and he chuckled and clucked, what a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I'll look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there were none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No, that Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max, and he took some red thread, and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said, "Giddy up!" And the sleigh started down towards the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. All their
User joined
windows
your
were
channel.
dark. Quiet
User
snow
joined your
filled the
channel.
air. All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square, this is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed.
User joined your
and
channel.
he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney. A rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once, for a moment or two, then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue. where the little Who stockings all hung in a row. These stockings, he grinned, are the first things to go. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorns and plums, and he stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney.
User
And
joined
he
your
slunk
channel.
to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who
User
pudding.
joined your
He
channel.
took the roast beast. He cleared out the whole icebox as quick as a flash.
User joined
while
your
the
channel.
Grinch even took the last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. And now, grinned the Grinch, I'll stuff up the tree. And the Grinch gripped the tree, which
User
he
left
started
your
to
channel.
shove when he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast, and then he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou Who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter, who'd got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, "Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our tree? Why?" But you know that old Grinch was so
User left
smart
your
and
channel.
so slick, he thought up a lie, and he thought it up quick. "Why, my sweet little tot," the fake Santa Claus lied, "there's
User
a light
left your
on this
channel.
tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, and I'll bring it back here." And his fib
User
fooled
joined
the
your channel.
child, and he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and
User
stuffed
joined your
the
channel.
tree up. Then the last thing he took was the log for their fire. Then he went up the chimney, himself the old liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who
User
houses,
left your
leaving
channel.
crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was 1/4 dawn. All the Who's still abed, all the Who's still a snooze, when he packed up his sled, packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags and the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Hoop hoo to the Who's. He was graciously humming. They'll find out tomorrow, no
User joined your
Christmas is
channel.
coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open in a minute or two, then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry,
User joined your
"Hoo,
channel."
hoo." "That's a noise," grinned the Grinch, "that I simply must hear." So he paused, and the Grinch put a hand to his
User left
ear.
your channel.
And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low,
User
then it
left your
started to
channel.
grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, the sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry. Very. He stared down at Whoville, the Grinch popped his eyes, then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing, without
User left
presents
your
at
channel.
all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came! Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, Whoville, they say, that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the food for the feast, and he himself Grinch carved the roast beast. The end.
You're fucking fantastic.
Good job.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
User joined your channel.
Stop on me in the middle of the
Fucking fantastic. That was awesome.
User joined your channel.
Amazing. Dub.
We need,
That was
we
the
need
greatest
more
shit ever.
story time at least once a month.
I agree.
I don't think we're gonna do it once a month, but we'll see
User
what
left
we can
your
do.
channel.
We'll see what we can do for short story time. But thank you all for participating. And once again, from everybody, I know some of the officers had to log off, but really thank you all for sticking with us through beta and all of the crazy shenanigans
joined
and
your
horseshit we
channel.
came up with. It's meant a lot to everybody.